We spent the night in the most haunted house in my city. The night the walls started breathing. I didn't know walls could breathe, not until that night. We were trapped inside the most haunted house in my city, and everything was wrong. The air felt too heavy. The lights flickered even though there was no power. The floor under us kept shaking like something was crawling inside it. And then, the walls inhaled a long, deep breath. We watched them expand like a human chest filling with air. Then they exhaled, slow, angry, and warm, blowing cold dust into our faces. My friend Daniel grabbed my arm so hard his nails dug into my skin. "Don't move," he whispered. "It knows we're here." Before I could ask what he meant, we heard it. A voice inside the wall, whispering my name. Not shouting. Not calling. Just whispering. Soft. Close. Like someone hiding inside the bricks. Then the voice whispered Daniel's name too. Then all our names. One after the other. Like it was choosing who it wanted first. Daniel lifted the flashlight with shaking hands. The light hit the wall, and a face pushed out of it. A real face, eyes closed at first, then snapping open like it was waking from sleep. Its mouth stretched too wide, as if it wanted to scream, but the sound came from behind us instead. A woman's scream. Loud. Broken. Angry. We spun around. But she wasn't there. Only the dark hallway. Then the face in the wall opened its mouth again. And the entire house exhaled a second time, harder than before. The force threw Daniel backwards. My flashlight rolled away. And the last thing I heard was the voice coming from inside the wall whispering, "Don't leave." And that's when everything went black. The story proper, how it all started. A week before that night, nothing scary was happening. It was just four of us, me, Daniel, Grace, and Tolu. We were ordinary teenagers in a boring city with nothing fun to do. But then someone online posted a video about the old Odia house. A crumbling, abandoned building people said was cursed. According to the comments, 8 people had gone in before us. And only 5 came out. Everyone said the house was alive. Everyone except us. We thought it was fake. We thought it was a perfect place to prove we were brave. We thought we could spend one night inside and record everything for fun. That was the plan. We were idiots. The first strange thing happened even before we stepped through the gate. The wind stopped. Not slowed, stopped. Like the whole world was holding its breath. Grace noticed it first. She rubbed her arms and whispered, "Guys, why is everything so quiet?" She was right. No birds. No cars. No dogs. Not even insects. Just silence. A deep, heavy silence that made you want to run away. But we didn't. We just kept laughing and pretending nothing was wrong. We wanted to act brave for the camera. When we reached the front door, it opened by itself. Slow. Creaking. Inviting. Like someone inside had been waiting for us. The air inside smelled like wet dirt and old clothes. The walls were covered in long black cracks. And the ceiling had handprints on it. Small ones. Large ones. Some too big to be human. Tolu joked. "Maybe giants lived here." No one laughed. Still, we walked deeper inside. Every step felt like something was watching us. Not from one direction, but from every direction at once. At first, the house was quiet. We explored rooms. We set up our cameras. We argued about where to sleep. For a moment, it felt like nothing bad would happen. But then, as Daniel walked past the hallway mirror, his reflection didn't move. Not even a little. It stood still, staring at him, smiling slowly. Daniel froze. We all froze. The reflection's smile grew wider and wider, until its lips tore at the sides. Then, suddenly, the mirror cracked from the inside, like something punched it from behind. A shard of glass flew out and sliced past Daniel's face. He screamed and fell back. And that was the moment we realized the stories were true. The house was alive. And it already knew our names. Something moved fast behind us, too fast for any human. And the chapter ends the moment we turn around to see what it is. We spun around so fast my neck almost snapped, but the hallway behind us was already dark. Too dark. The kind of darkness that looks thick, like smoke, like it's hiding something. Then we heard it. Running. Not human running. Not the soft tapping of feet. This sounded like something crawling fast on all fours. Its hands slapping the floor like wet meat. Slap, 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 slap. It was getting closer. Coming straight at us. Grace screamed. Run! But Daniel grabbed her arm and whispered. No! If you run, it chases faster. How do you know? I yelled. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The thing in the darkness stopped running. It was right in front of us now. We could hear it breathing. Low, deep, hungry. But we couldn't see a face. Not yet. The darkness around it was moving, wiggling, like it was alive. Like the shadows were trying to hide the creature's true shape. Then Tolu's phone flashlight flicked on by itself, shining straight into the hallway. And that's when we saw it. A hand came out of the darkness. Long. Thin. Fingers too many to count. They bent in the wrong direction, like broken branches. The hand slapped the floor again, and the rest of the creature slid into view. It didn't walk. It didn't crawl. It dragged itself forward like its bones were melting. Tolu whispered. That thing doesn't have a face. He was right. Where its face should be was just skin. Smooth. Blank. Nothing. But somehow, we still felt like it was looking at us. The moment it fully entered the light. It tilted its head at us, slow and stiff, like someone learning how to move. The skin where its eyes should be started stretching. Like something underneath was trying to push out. Daniel grabbed my arm. We need to go back to the living room. Now! We moved slowly, backward, step by step. Trying not to make sudden movement that might make it attack. But then... Crack! The mirror behind us shattered completely, exploding outward. We screamed and ducked. Glass rained over us like sharp hailstones. The creature jerked its head toward the sound. And suddenly its entire body twitched like someone pressed fast forward on it. It lunged. But it didn't go for us. It crawled at the broken mirror instead. And slid into it. Into the empty frame. Like the mirror was a doorway. Like it belonged there. Then, with a soft sucking sound, it disappeared. The house went quiet again. Too quiet. Tolu fell to the ground gasping, holding his chest. Grace was crying silently. Daniel kept staring at the empty mirror frame like he was trying to solve a puzzle only he could see. I whispered. What was that thing? Daniel swallowed hard. I think it's not alone. Before we could ask what he meant, the lights in the hallway flickered on. Even though the house had no electricity. One bulb. Then the next. Then the next. Each one lighting up the hallway deeper, deeper. Revealing doors that weren't there before. Long doors. Tall doors. Some crooked. Some with scratch marks. Some shaking like someone was inside trying to get out. And at the very end of the hallway, a door slowly opened by itself. Just a crack. Enough for us to hear. Singing. A child's voice. Soft. Sweet. Wrong. It sang a lullaby that didn't make sense, like the words were backwards. Grace whispered, shaking. We're not supposed to follow that, right? But Daniel whispered back. If we don't check, something worse will come out. We all stood there, frozen. The house was forcing us to choose. Stay where the shadows moved on their own. Or walk toward the door with the singing child. The singing grew louder. Closer. Happier. Then the door at the end of the hallway swung open all the way. And a small figure stepped out, holding something dripping red in its hand. The small figure stepped fully into the hallway, and we all sucked in our breath at the same time. It looked like a child, maybe 7 or 8 years old, but something was wrong. Very wrong. Its skin was pale like wet paper. Its head tilted to one side as if its neck was too weak to hold it. And in its tiny hand, dripping onto the floor, was something red. We didn't know if it was blood. We didn't want to know. The child lifted its head. Its eyes were huge and empty, like two black holes stuck in its face. It stared at us without blinking. Not moving. Not breathing. Just watching. Then it smiled. A slow, stretched, too-wide smile. "Come play with me," it whispered. Grace started crying harder. Tolu stepped behind me. Daniel whispered, "Don't talk to it. Don't answer it." But the child took one small step toward us. And the red thing in its hand hit the floor with a wet sound. We all jumped. The child didn't. It kept smiling. Now that it was closer, we saw what it had been holding. A doll. A very old, dirty doll. Its dress torn. Its face scratched. But the strange part? The doll's eyes were real. Human eyes. Blinking. The child pointed at Daniel. "You look like him," it said softly. "My brother. He stayed here too." Daniel froze. "What do you mean, stayed?" he whispered. The child leaned its head the other way, bones cracking loudly. "He stayed in the walls. The house liked him. Do you want to see?" Before Daniel could speak, all the doors lining the hallway began to rattle. One after the other. Bang. Bang. Bang, bang, bang. Something inside each door wanted out. Something big. Something angry. Tolu shouted, "We need to leave! Now!" But the child stepped in front of us. "You can't leave," it said sweetly. "Not until the house chooses who stays." Then its mouth stretched open. Wider. Wider. So wide the skin around it tore, revealing darkness inside. A scream burst out of its mouth. Not its own scream. Thousands of screams. Men. Women. Children. All screaming at the same time. The sound shook the floor. The walls. The doors. Us. Grace covered her ears and fell to her knees. Tolu crawled backward, shaking. Daniel grabbed my arm and dragged me toward the stairs. "Move!" he shouted. We ran. The house roared behind us. The hallway stretched longer and longer, like it didn't want us reaching the stairs. Lights burst above us. Windows cracked. Shadows crawled on the walls like spiders. The child's scream followed us. Echoing. Growing. Changing. We reached the stairs just as something grabbed Grace's ankle. She screamed and fell face first. "Help! Please!" We grabbed her arms. Pulled. Pulled harder. Something in the darkness below the stairs pulled back. A tug of war with something we couldn't see. Something strong. Grace cried. "It's pulling me! It's pulling me!" And then, we saw it. Hands. Dozens of them. Pale hands reaching out from beneath the steps, grabbing her, pulling her down. Hands of people who had stayed in the house before us. Hands that were cold and bony and shaking with hunger. Daniel screamed, "Don't let go!" We didn't. We held on. We pulled with everything inside us. Grace looked at us with tears streaming down her face. "Don't leave me," she whispered. We didn't plan to. We didn't want to. But the hands pulled harder. And harder. And Grace slipped inch by inch. Until suddenly, she was yanked down the stairs so fast she vanished into the dark. Her scream cut off instantly. Just gone. We froze. The silence afterward was worse than the screaming. Tolu collapsed in shock. Daniel stared into the darkness where Grace had disappeared, whispering her name like he was afraid to say it louder. I grabbed them both. "We can't stay. She'd want us to live." The house groaned. Walls bending inward. Floorboards rising like they were breathing again. We ran. Down the hallway. Toward the front door. The child appeared in front of it, blocking the exit, smiling with blood dripping from its mouth. "You can't leave yet," it whispered. The house hasn't chosen who else gets to stay. The door behind it slammed shut. Locks clicked. Chains tightened. And all around us, the other doors finally opened. One by one. Slow. Creaking. Something huge began to crawl out of each room. Dozens of creatures, shadows, shapes, footsteps, voices. The house whispered the same word over and over. Stay. Then everything lunged at us. Drop a comment saying I'm brave if you made it to the end. Let's see how many survivors we have.